Good afternoon, everybody. Professor Rich Schiebner here again with code blocks up on my screen. Now, the one thing that I was telling you about in class was that I haven't given you the functions yet to complete the random number assignment. Remember that we want the computer to pick a random number, and then we want the user to guess and guess and guess again until they get it right. Now, if the user gets it too high, if they guess too high, then we tell them. If they guess too low, we tell them. And then if they get it just right, we also tell them. In class, we just fudged the number and picked some number out of thin air, maybe between 1 and 100. But instead of doing that, we're going to have the computer pick the random number now. Now, I took the liberty of creating additional functions for you that would make it real easy to get a random number with one easy function. Now, we haven't talked about functions yet, but when you see this get underscore random, that is actually, I'm calling a function. Just like if I was going to use some other pre-built tool or command in the language. Excuse me. So I've already created that for you. The thing that you'll need to do, you'll have to do a couple of things to make this work. And it can be a little bit tricky. But I'm going to provide you with the code for randoms.h. And at the top of my CPP file, I'm going to have another include statement, just like the one up here. But the trick for you is to take the randoms.h file that I give you and put it into the same directory on your computer as this CPP file that you're currently working on. I pretty much put all of my programming projects in separate folders just to keep myself organized. What you don't want to do is save your main.cpp file in the same directory every time, because guess what you're going to do? You're going to overwrite main.cpp every single time. You definitely don't want to do that because you'll lose previous work. So take the randoms.h file that I give you and place it into the same folder as this CPP file. So that's task number 1. The next thing you need to do is make sure that this randoms.h file is included with your project. Look over on the left here in my code blocks IDE. I've added the randoms.h here. Now, if you use code blocks, it's really straightforward. You come up here to project and click add files, and then you find the randoms.h file. Notice it's in the same directory. Okay, and we click open. Okay, just going to click OK, and then it adds. If it wasn't here before, it'll show up right over here under headers. In CPP, or in C++, we have source code files that end in .cpp, and we also have headers. These, the iostream and cstandardlib, those are actually header files. Okay, we actually have this include statement. The quotes around this randoms.h essentially means to look for this file in the same directory as this program. That's why we put randoms.h in the same directory. So the quotes indicate the same directory. These open and closed carets basically mean look in the general location for the library files. So in code blocks or dev C++, there's a directory kicking around somewhere that has a boatload of library files in it. So these carets here, the less than and the greater than, they indicate look in that default location for the libraries on your computer. So that explains why we use quotes or this. Right here I put randoms.h in the same directory. You do that, then you have to import or add the randoms.h file to the project that you're currently working on. In Dev C++, I'll have to go do it in Dev C++ and show you if you need to. It should be relatively the same process as this. Inside randoms.h, I have a nifty little function. Again, we haven't talked about functions yet, but you're slowly going to be introduced to them as we go. This is actually the way you can take or get a random number from 1 to 100. Okay. When you see this function, this essentially goes out, looks through these files here, comes across randoms.h, and finds get random here. Okay. I've made my own function, which is just a small chunk of code, just like this. I call get underscore random. In parentheses, I need to give one parameter, and that's an integer. And basically what we want to pass to the get random function is an integer. That's the maximum random number that we want. So let's say 100. I need a random number from 1 to 100. So you would do get random, something like that. Well, anytime you run this function, we need to do something with whatever the result is. This down here, this return statement, gives us the result. And we want to stick it somewhere. So we declare and use a variable to stick the value from this function into this variable, rn. Don't get too hung up on this stuff yet. We'll get to this a little bit later. Back in the main.cpp file, that's exactly what I've done. Now what I'd like you to do is use this function, use this in your program to complete the random number problem instead of using the int rn equals 56 or whatever we did in class. Excuse me. So that's it for now. You can always rewind and repeat what I've said in the video. That's the beauty of the video. You can go back and listen again and again if you like, if you dare. And that should do it. If you have any questions, please email me or give me a call. Again, my email, rhebner@norwich.edu. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in class again.